Robert Ferringo of Doc Sports back once again with Nolan Patrick of Strike Point Sports. What more do you want? We have two of the best NBA handicappers in the country here to share our vision, our view of the conference championships. Before we get to that, got to take care of some bills. Go to www.docsports.com for all of your sports betting needs. If you like this video or any of the others like it on the Doc Sports YouTube channel, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button and turn on notifications so you will be known anytime a new video is uploaded. Finally, take advantage of that free $60 account. See that right there, right above me? Yeah, there's a link down in the description below. Click on that link, sign up for an account. You have $60, same as cash, right? You can use that for any handicapper, any sport, any package that you want. $30 is pretty much the standard for a daily picks package in baseball, NBA, NHL, something like that. If you win, as you should, there you go. If you lose, you're refunded that in credit. So it's really a win-win situation and something that we're pretty happy and proud of and something that you should be taking advantage of. It's free money. You are welcome. So, all right, Nolan. I know that we're selling this as kind of like a free picks analysis video, but it's not. Today, it's an intervention for you, for your self-sabotaging, okay? For weeks, we have been doing these videos. For weeks, you've been, even when it wasn't even like part of the conversation, just sneaking in what a loser Doc Rivers is, right? Always. Just, it is your firmly held belief for years and years and years. He did get fired today. You know, that's what happens to losers. However, on Sunday in Game 7, Philadelphia-Boston, instead of trusting that instinct, okay, that foresight, that knowledge that you have as one of the top NBA handicappers, and betting against Doc Rivers to just be the loser that you know deep down he is, you didn't do that. You bet on Philadelphia. And yeah, you kind of reaped the whirlwind there. So I mean, any regrets on how you played that series?
I will say I did take the under because it was a Game 7 and I took the under, auto Game 7 under. But no, I did. I thought Philly was going to give Boston a run. And the way the first half went was exactly how I thought it would be. I thought it would be a back and forth game. I believe it was 55-52, and then Boston went on a 33-10 run. Doc Rivers' loserdom took over, and Philadelphia, they looked like they just absolutely gave up. They looked like they gave up, and I've seen that for years out of Doc Rivers-led teams. And then it was just really odd that after the game, Embiid is quoted as saying, "We need more than just myself and James Harden to win games." And yet Embiid was 5 for 17 from the floor, didn't even get to 20 points. And Embiid broke a record. I don't know if you're familiar with this. Not a ton of people are, but Joel Embiid broke a record for the most points under his regular season average for an MVP in the playoffs. So he averaged about 31 points a game in the regular season. He wins the MVP and only averaged maybe 23 points a game in that Boston series, which broke a record for the biggest drop in points scored for a running MVP. So yes, Doc Rivers is a loser. I should have taken Boston. I drank the Philly Kool-Aid just a little bit, but I did get that under. Saving grace, I suppose.
I don't want to, I'm not going to kill Embiid because he is obviously the best player on that team. He obviously carried that team to the point that they are. James Harden's playoff failures are, that's just as long a list as Doc Rivers and that. I mean, he's a proven dud in the postseason. But the guy that kind of kills them is Tobias Harris. I mean, he's a max contract guy. He's supposed to be your third all-star caliber guy. I don't remember him doing anything, and not just in this series, and in any of these series. There was never a quarter. There was never a stretch where I'm like, oh, man, Tobias Harris is getting after it. He's taking over this game or anything like that. And, that's kind of what's killing them. I I think the era of having that dominant center winning championships is long since been over. Not saying that
Yeah.
Embiid can't be your first option, right? He can. But in the postseason, you still need a guard at that caliber. Like the only reason it works for Denver, where their big man is the focal point of their offense, is because Joker is such a good passer. That's it, right? It's not they don't just throw it into him and then just watch him work the way that Philadelphia does with Embiid. He's not a great passer. I mean, unless
Mhm.
three guys converge on him, it's just not the same game. So it is partly a roster construction thing. And it is they also just have to find a way to be a little bit more perimeter oriented because Boston showed like Boston held him below his scoring average, right? Boston doesn't
Right.
have great big men. They don't have phenomenal big men, but they have a bunch of phenomenal guards. So they can put pressure on you offensively and defensively a lot of different ways. So what?
I think you're sleeping on Al Horford and his defensive capabilities a little bit.
He's like 82 years old. I'm gonna be kind of happy for the guy if he gets the ring. I mean, he's been a good player for a long time,
Yeah.
but he's 77 years old. I can't believe he's 77 years old and he missed, I feel like, every three-pointer that he took in that series. So hopefully he appreciates it. Now, all right, good transition point right here. A few years ago in 2019, I believe it was, the Philadelphia 76ers had a decision to make. Keep one James Butler or let him walk and sign Tobias Harris to a max contract. I think that was an all-time mistake by the Philadelphia Sixers. Jimmy Butler and his Heat are back in the conference championship for the third time since 2019. And honestly, is there any doubt right now that if you swapped out Jimmy Butler for Tobias Harris, that Philadelphia would be coming out of the East? I don't think so. So we're gonna get to that Miami Boston series tomorrow night. But first thoughts on how these two teams match up. What do you think of Boston after watching them on Sunday? Where's your head at with the Eastern Conference Finals?
You know, I've said since the Eastern Conference playoffs started that I think Boston is the best team in the East. I think that they come out of the East. I still think they come out of the East. I think they beat the Heat. I think it's going to be a battle. You know, I see at least 6 games. I really do. You know, the Heat, I'm a huge Jason Tatum fan. I've made that plain as day to anybody that wants to hear it. So I truly feel that Jason Tatum is the best player on the floor. With that being said, Jimmy Butler is an absolute monster. He's proven it in the playoffs. The Heat have dominated at home, so I think you're going to see the Celtics struggle in Miami as well. Eric Spoelstra is one of my favorite coaches in the NBA, and I could argue that I think he is the best coach in the NBA. I love what he does in Miami. I've always loved what he does in Miami. He had teams filled with superstars and coached them to championships. He's had teams filled with role players and coached them to Eastern Conference Finals. They were there last year. They played the Celtics last year in the Eastern Conference Finals. So I think Miami's going to have a huge advantage when it comes to the coaching staff over the Boston Celtics. In the end, I do like the Celtics. I think that their roster is built a little bit better than the Heat is. I think the Celtics can match up very well with the Heat. And I like Tatum and Brown more than I like, say, Butler and Bam Adebayo or Max Strus or Kyle Lowry. So I think in the end, the Celtics are going to win this in 6 games, but I think it's going to be very similar to last year. The Celtics had nothing left to face the Golden State Warriors last year because the Heat just beat them up. And I think you're going to see the same thing. I think you're going to see the Celtics win, but get just absolutely beat up by the Heat in a grueling series and possibly not be ready for the finals.
Celtics are somewhere around minus 500, minus 550 to win this series. The Heat, I'm seeing it plus 400, plus 435, plus 440 out there. Any value on just, throwing some money on the Heat to win this series at, plus 400 or no? Is it just obviously, Boston beat them last year, probably a better Boston team facing a slightly worse Miami team, second verse, same as the first.
Yeah, I mean, Listen, I love value. I'm a big value play. At the beginning of the NBA playoffs, actually, it was about 3 weeks before the NBA playoffs started. You could get the Golden State Warriors to win the NBA title at plus 1,300, plus 1,400. I loved that. That was the value play that I saw. If I was going to go on this series as far as trying to find some value, it would be on the Heat at plus 400. But I actually saw at a book or two, I saw the Heat plus 2.5 games at minus 140, which is not terrible juice. That is where I would attack. I would attack right there. The Heat plus 2.5 games, because I do see Miami winning 2 games here. I really do.
Yeah,
So that's where I would go.
when we were texting about it on Sunday, I said, 4-2. I have Boston winning at 4-2, but I don't think it's going to be a close series if that makes sense. I think Boston's going to win their 4 games pretty comfortably. I feel like I'm giving Miami credit for stealing 2 games. I mean, remember, they're not even fully healthy. No Oladipo, no Tyler Hero. Like,
Right.
if this team was at full strength, maybe it would be an interesting matchup. But no, I just think that Boston, see this a lot with teams in a lot of sports. That's why I'm high on Boston. I love Boston. They're even money to win the championship right now. I actually disagree with you there. I think that they're going to go on and win the title. Teams that get to the point where they were down 3-2, going on the road, about to be upset, about to have their season ended. Like, they were watching their life in their hands, right? Like, this is the end. This is the end of what was going to be our championship season. They stared death right in the face, came back and won that game 6 on the road, and then dominated game 7. Now they have that confidence. Like I said, I've seen it so many times. You see it in the NCAA tournament with teams that snatch victory from the claws of defeat. You've seen it in football games. I don't see them stopping now. So we'll see. I like them even money. Now, the team with the number 2 odds to cut down before we get to that Western Conference Series, game 1 tomorrow night. Boston's -8. Total is 210. Pretty much exactly where the lines were, the side and the total for the Philadelphia series. Boston was right around that 7.5, 8-point favorite. Total was right around 210. What are your thoughts on that? You feel like those numbers are where they should be? Miami not getting enough credit, getting too much? What do you think?
Boston is going to, when they're at home, you're going to see these lines with them. You just are, because they have the ability to just absolutely dominate teams. How many times have you seen Boston beat a really, really good team 134-104? They have the ability to just absolutely destroy people in Boston. I will be on the Heat plus the points. This Heat team is gritty, gutty. As I said, Eric Spoelstra, that he's going to have his team ready. There is no way the Heat or that Boston cover both games in Boston. There's no way. The Heat are going to cover one of those 2 games. I don't know if the Heat are going to win one of those 2 games, but they absolutely will cover. If Boston covers game 1, I don't want to tip my cap, but I know somebody that might be on Miami big in game 2.
I feel like some of that is handicapping, some of that stubbornness. Also, I think you're still mad about Sunday, so you're like, they're not covering. But also this is me riding the segue. This is a good segue to another team that's been dominant at home, and that's the Denver Nuggets. Game 1 is tonight, Tuesday, and if I can connect both of those games with one thread, why wouldn't we just bet on the home favorites? Why wouldn't we just bet on Boston -8? Why wouldn't we just bet on Denver tonight -6? I mean, home favorites. It's been the theme. It's been the thread throughout the entire playoffs this year. Why should we go against that? And what are your thoughts about this Denver Lakers game 1? We'll talk about game 1 first, and then kind of your thoughts on the series.
Right. I don't think I would be doing anybody justice if I told you to take the Lakers in game 1, considering that I'm on Denver in game 1. I do like Denver here. The one thing that does worry me a bit is the Lakers went into Golden State and won game 1, in that series. but I think that was because that was just a brutal matchup for the Golden State Warriors. The Lakers were too big and too strong. If I'm a Laker fan, who is guarding Jokic? I'll be completely honest. If I was coaching Los Angeles, and I know it's brutal to think about, but don't you throw LeBron on Jokic a little bit? I don't think Anthony Davis is going to be able to do anything to Jokic. Jokic is going to pull him away from the basket. And if you look at the Lakers bench, you're only getting one, maybe two guy or two, maybe three guys getting more than double-digit minutes. You're getting Hachimura and Schroeder's getting some burn, Lonnie Walker. But Hachimura is really the only big guy coming off the bench. Is he going to guard Jokic? No. So the Lakers are in a big bind when it comes to figuring out how to stop Jokic. And then all of a sudden, Aaron Gordon's going to be running around, big Aaron Gordon. So this is a tough matchup for LA. I'm going to be on Denver. I am on Denver in game one, and I'm really interested to see how it plays out. I like the over in game one as well. I think that Denver is going to struggle to stop the Lakers from scoring, and so I think I had the final score pegged at 124-113 for this first game.
I actually disagree with you there. I'm actually looking at the under. I didn't play a total in this game. Again, I wanted to see, because I agree with you. There's some interesting mismatches and matchup questions. So again, when we were talking about this on Sunday, when we were texting about it, I was like, I need to see a game. I need to see one game and see how these teams are going to attack each other. I agree. I would put LeBron on Jokic for certain stretches, important stretches, because if I'm the Lakers, I want him playing with his back to the basket. I don't want Joker facing up. All right. And that's what he's going to do if Anthony Davis is on him. He's going to face him up and he's going to beat him. He's going to toy with him in the ways that only Joker can. You put LeBron on there, who's kind of strong enough to bang with him, but that's going to kind of force Jokic into a back to the basket situation. I feel like where he's going to want to establish post position, get the block, and then go to work that way. I mean, it's pick your poison with the guy, but that's what I would rather see him doing, beating me with little moves around the basket rather than getting my big men in foul trouble or driving and kicking out for threes or hitting those little mid-range 8 to 12 foot jumpers. So yeah, I'm with you. I want to see how some of these matches play out. But the reason I don't like the total is I think that the Lakers made a conscious decision against Golden State to say that we are bigger, stronger. We're not afraid of you, so we're going to run. So you want to jack threes, that's fine. We're going to rebound and run. And that's what they did in that series. They were getting up and down. They did not try and slow it down. They were getting up and down with the Warriors. Denver doesn't play the same style as Golden State does. Denver's a little better defensively in transition defense. And I don't see it being as much of an up and down, back and forth, high wire act series as that Golden State was. And if you remember that Golden State series, the totals in those games were always right around 228, 229. And even though we had some phenomenally high scoring halves, quarters, one of the games they scored like 134 points, I think, in the first half. They were barely getting over or barely coming under in a lot of those. So you're only talking about 4 or 5 points off those totals. And I see it being played at a completely different pace than that Warriors game was. The Lakers are not going to be able to just get to the basket whenever they want against Denver. So, okay, the Nuggets are minus 160 to win this series. The Lakers are plus 140. If you had to pick one based on where the numbers are at, it's easy to say, I think the Nuggets are going to win this series. They're the number one seed. But based on where the juice is, if you had to make a series play, where would you go?
This is going to seem interesting because I do feel like Denver is the better team. I feel like Denver is a better overall team. I really do. But, and take this with a grain of salt, if I had to pick a team to win on the other team's court, I think the Lakers have a better chance of winning in Denver than Denver has winning in LA. I really do. Obviously Denver has home court advantage, so you're going to see 4 games in Denver as opposed to 3 games in LA. I like LA to win a game in Denver in this series. I would be shocked, absolutely shocked to see this, say Denver win 4-2, Denver win, or I'm sorry, it wouldn't be 4-2 that way, but if to see it go 4-3 and Denver win everything at home and LA win everything at home, I would be shocked to see that happen. I think that LA wins a game in Denver at some point. I really, really do.
Okay, let me throw these numbers at you, though. Denver's last 5 home wins by 16 points, 10 points, 18 points, 3 points, and 9 points. Okay, so only one game, that was Minnesota, stayed within 9 points of them. And here are the Lakers' last 3 road losses by 15, 27, and 17 points. So I
Yep.
don't know how viable the Lakers are in Denver. And do you think that there's a letdown from that Warriors series? Do you think that the Lakers have legitimate eye on the prize championship? Kind of the way that Denver has. We haven't seen Denver have to max out yet. Do you think there's a little bit of a letdown out of the Lakers? That was a huge series for them. That was a very emotional situation, emotional series for them going up against the Warriors. And they did have to go kind of all out for 6 games. You think they have enough left in the tank for this Nuggets team?
I really do. I really do, to be honest. They didn't really break much of a sweat in Game 6. They didn't have to work really that hard on their home floor. You got to remember, for a while in that Golden State Lakers series, it was blowout after blowout. I don't feel like the Lakers had to go to their bag that much. Now, it is interesting that LeBron and AD were playing about 40 minutes a game, which is a lot out of those two guys. AD did take a knock late in that series, but yes, it was emotional because there is a feeling of them, knocking off the Warriors dynasty. Is the Warriors dynasty over? And there is a bit of chatter, and there has been chatter for years, but now all of a sudden LeBron is taking another team to the brink of the NBA finals, and it would be 5, and now he's right behind Jordan and blah, blah, blah. I think LeBron is focused and ready. He hasn't had to go off for 40, 15, and 12 to win games. He's
Do you think
scoring
he still
20
can?
some up.
Do you think he still has that gear? Because you're right, he hasn't yet, but I don't think it's because he's holding back. He hasn't played very well offensively in the playoffs. He doesn't look like the same guy for the first time ever watching him. Seems a step slow, doesn't have that same LeBron gear. Do you think he still has that? Jason Tatum went off for 50 in Game 7, right? Does LeBron still have that gear? I don't know that he does.
No, I don't think he does. But Davis has the ability to score 30. Geez, there was a game, what was it? Game 3, maybe, in that Warriors-Lakers series. D'Angelo Russell scored the first 15 points of the game. So they have guys that can score, but I'll tell you what, I'm not poking the bear. I'm not going to a game and telling LeBron that he can't score 40. That'd be the last thing you would want to do. I don't think he can. I really don't. But I also don't think he's had to. Yeah, I don't think he's had to. But I do. I think that this is, for anybody that really likes Denver, I think this is going to be a lot better series than people think. I think the Lakers are going to give the Nuggets all they can handle. And if I was betting on this series for a series play, I'm taking the Lakers plus 140.
Okay, that's perfect because just last thing, Lakers 140, odds to win the title right now. Denver is about plus 210. Lakers are about plus 280. You are on record as saying you think whoever comes out of the West beats Boston coming out of the East. Again, what do you think about taking the Lakers plus 140 to win the series, but taking the Nuggets plus 210 to win the championship? You bet $500 or $1,000 on both. As long as one of those teams comes through, you're showing a profit. What do you think about that? Or do you think, again, just hop on the Lakers bandwagon here, plus 140 to win the series? You're getting almost 3-1 with LeBron to win the championship. What are your thoughts on the odds to win the title?
I mean, it's really hard not to take the Celtics at even money. It's really hard to do that because I do think that they're going to win, 4-2 in that series. But if I'm looking at strict value, which I like to do, I like the Lakers. I think that the Lakers are going to come out of this series, and I think that they're not going to get beat up as bad. I think that you're going to see some really good basketball games in Denver. And obviously Denver and LA, but the physicality of the Eastern Conference, I think, is going to be at a completely different level than that Western Conference. You could look at Boston and say they might have been the better team last year than Golden State was, but they got abused by Miami. They really did last year, and I think they're going to get abused again. The only thing that gives me pause to take the Lakers and not say the Celtics. And I like that you said you like the Celtics out of the East. I love the addition of Malcolm Brogdon. I love him on the bench for that Celtics second unit. And that was what they lacked last year when they played Golden State. But in the end, Rui Hachimura, Lonnie Walker, Dennis Schroeder, that second group for the Lakers, I think is going to play big in the finals. I think the Lakers have enough to beat Denver, but in the finals, it's going to be those added pieces. So as of right now, May 16th, I like the Lakers to win the NBA championship.
Don't think for a second that the little puppet masters at NBA headquarters, they're not looking at this and saying, oh my God, we could have a Celtics Lakers NBA finals. That's me. Tuesday, May 16th, I'm playing the conspiracy theory card right there. Lakers Celtics, they want them in the finals.
Come on, you don't want Miami, Denver?
Yeah, exactly. All right, he is Nolan Patrick. I am Robert Ferringo. We are Doc Sports. Thank you as always. We will be back later in the week with another NBA handicapping extravaganza. Until then, carpe diem and good luck.